My name is Charlie Puzo Jr. My father was Charlie Puzo, who started the Penthouse Jazz Club here in Seattle. Around 1961, my dad started the Penthouse here in Seattle. He was looking for a venue for live jazz music. One of the first things my father did at the Penthouse was pick out a piano for the room. He asked Oscar Peterson, the jazz artist, to help him out with that, who is a friend of my father's, and they picked out this beautiful baby Steinway, and they put it in the room, and they were in the process of remodeling, and he started playing, and the acoustics in the room were amazing with the brick walls. Oscar Peterson looked around the room and said, "Do not get rid of these brick walls, Charlie. It's amazing in here." And they ended up keeping the brick walls. That was part of the look of the Penthouse.
There were these little bookshelf speakers that were like 2 cubic feet. Whoever designed the system put these bookshelf speakers along the ceiling and the wall, down the wall opposite the stage. So the band was playing here, the speakers were overhead. They filled the room with music without being beam-like. So the sound was very even throughout the room, and it wasn't peaky, it wasn't screechy, it wasn't boomy, it wasn't thumpy. It was very natural sounding.
The way my father approached owning a jazz club, I think, was different at that time than a lot of people would approach opening a jazz club. He made sure that everyone felt welcome there. He was always at the club. I think the way that my dad cared about the club was part of the magic of the club.
We have a special request from a man whose name is Charles Puzo. That is a young Connecticut lad who has made a name for himself in the great Northwest.
Also, I think the mix of people that you had coming into the club, it was a time in the 60s when we were in the throes of a lot of racial tension in the country, and it was a place where there was almost never a fight. There was very rarely any issues. People got along there, they came there for the music. So it was also a place of peace in a pretty turbulent time. You had everyone from John Coltrane, Miles Davis, a young Aretha Franklin. You had Oscar Peterson, Stan Getz, George Shearing and Dizzy Gillespie, Jazz Crusaders, June Christie. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
I came here in 1961, watched them build a Space Needle for the World's Fair, and the city got really excited in preparation for hosting a World's Fair. And so it was a very exciting time to be here. When I got here, unfortunately, I was working at night. I was doing the night shift at King FM, and I didn't have the opportunity to get out much. But when the Penthouse opened, that was my opportunity to start doing something by doing live broadcasts from the Penthouse. At that time, the main way of relaying audio from one place to another was via telephone lines. And you could order up special lines just for a broadcast. It was just a permanent connection between the location and the broadcast studio. And I would set up my microphones, which were good quality, recording quality microphones set for music. And I would feed the house speakers with my mixer. And it was just a little 4-channel mixer, 4 big knobs. We had to have an amplifier, which had one of those nice big VU, 4-inch square VU meters with a needle going back and forth in it like this.
Hello and welcome to half an hour of jazz live and direct from the Penthouse just off Pioneer Square here in the heart of Old Seattle. Tonight, Seattle welcomes back Cannonball Adderley and the Quintet.
I learned to listen and watch the meters. I could see after a while which instrument was playing on the meters. Like if someone was soloing and the meter wasn't moving much, I knew I needed to turn them up. I asked at the studio, as the program was being broadcast live, that they always record the program so I could listen to it the next day, see what I did right, see what I did wrong, how I could improve the situation the next time around.
The raw tapes, before they are mastered and are my favorite, listening to them on a reel-to-reel, you really feel like you're there. I mean, out of 10, I think they're a 12.
coming to you live and direct here on KING-FM in Seattle. Tonight, bringing you the music of the Eddie Lockjaw Davis and Johnny Griffin Quintet. Horace Parlin at the piano, Buddy Catlett on bass, and Art Taylor at the drums. Here's the Lockjaw Davis, Johnny Griffin Quintet.
So far, out of the master tapes that Jim Wilkie and I have, we've put out 7 albums through various labels, and we plan to release 1 or 2 albums a year if everything works out well. The first release was Groovin' Hard live at the Penthouse from the Three Sounds. We also released Wes Montgomery, Cannonball Adderley, Jack Wilson, Johnny Griffin, and Eddie Lockjaw Davis.
In broadcasting, that's always been my goal in radio, is to connect the audience and the artist together. And when people begin to see the connection between what happened then and how someone else has come along and renewed it, and reestablished it, taken it on to the next step, that's what the music is all about. And if I can be a part of that, that's good enough for me.
My dad passed away 5 years ago. We all want our parents to live on, and this is one way I can do that. Every time we release one of these records, I get to see a little bit of my dad kind of live on, which is exciting for me. I miss him dearly. He was my best friend, and this is one way I can do something that I promised I would do. And it was kind of a shame because the process took so long that he never got to see any of these released. He got sick at the very end of when we were releasing the first record and wasn't able to see them. So it's a little bittersweet for me as each one comes out too, because he doesn't get to see them. I feel very honored to just be a small part of the process. It's important, I think, for this music to be out there and to be heard, because it is magical.
For the past half hour, you've been listening to live jazz from the Penthouse here on KING-FM with Eddie Lockjaw Davis, Johnny Griffin Quintet. Eddie and Johnny on tenors, Horace Parlin at the piano, Buddy Catlett on bass, Art Taylor at the drums. Music and facilities for this program provided by the Penthouse. Technical operation by Fred Stimson. This is Jim Wilkie speaking.
Catch Art Zone Friday nights at 8 and anytime online at seattle.gov/artzone.